few months ago, I swapped out my go-to pro lenses. I'm talking the kind that I've relied on for years as a full-time photographer for something that I honestly thought would be a downgrade. I mean, it was lighter, cheaper, and it didn't have that kind of specs that you would maybe brag about online. But after carrying them with me everywhere, from the streets to the mountain trails, I've realized that I've been taking more shots, having more fun, and getting shots that I maybe wouldn't have gotten with my old setup. Alright, my friends, so what is this mystery lens then? Well, it's of course this one right here, the Tamron 28 to 200mm f 2.8 to 5.6, a super zoom lens. And in this video, I want to dive into everything. The build quality, the specs, I want to tell you guys what I really like about it, why I bought it in the first place, and why I'm currently using it instead of some of my G Master lenses and Sigma lenses. I mean, up there, I have the Sony 24 to 70mm f2.8 Mark II, a phenomenal lens. Still, this is in my hand and it's been on my camera like 80%, maybe more, like 87% of the time this entire summer. Why is that? Well, there are multiple reasons for that, but it's not perfect. And my friend, I will also tell you the things that I don't like about it at all. Anyway, and when it comes to the spec of this lens right here, then of course it's a super zoom lens with 28 all the way to 200mm. That is a ton of range that you can get in this small lens. And the size, it is like pretty damn small. So as I said, the aperture on this little lens is from 2.8 all the way to 5.6. And that could be like a problem or a pro, depending on like who you ask. Now, the minimum focus distance at 28mm is 0.19 meters or 7.5 inches for you Americans watching. And what the hell is an inch? Is this an inch? So it would be 7 of my thumbs. And when you push it up to the 200mm and the telephoto like capabilities of this camera, the minimum focus distance is 0.8 meters. Now you might also be sitting there wondering, but man, what is the filter thread size? That is a question I sometimes get when I forget to say that, and I'm not gonna forget it here. And that is 67mm. Now another aspect which is like pretty cool about this lens is the size and dimensions. At 28mm, it is 170mm. Take it all the way up, it is approximately 171mm. A lot of remembering here. I know, my job is very, very hard. But what makes it sick is when you combine it with the weight, which is like 575 grams. That is ridiculous. Consider what this can do. It's so lightweight and compact. More on that a little bit later. By the way, I made a free 30-day email series packed with one short tip a day to help you become a better photographer. Basically, we're diving into composition fundamentals as well as how to make your photo stand out using color and light. It's totally free and you can find it in the description down below. Alright, so chapter number 2 of this video is about build quality and the construction of this lens. And if you're sitting there wondering to yourself, man, why the hell are you outdoors right now? Then it's good weather and I live up North Sweden, and soon, my friend, the winter will be upon us, which means no more good weather. Plus, to be honest, I think that my white legs here, they can do good of a little bit of sunlight, you know? Alright, so first thing first, this lens offers an excellent and a compact and a lightweight build quality. And even when you zoom it in all the way with my mouth here, because I'm holding this little camera, then it isn't that nose heavy at all, which I like. And by the way, the wind is making my hair very rain-horny. So if you don't like this video, I will come and I will charge at you and be like. Now the lens is made mostly out of plastic and it feels quite plasticky in the hands, and they say that this is done to try to reduce weight and cost. And I mean, to be fair, it's pretty inexpensive when it comes to the realm of lenses. Does it feel good on the other hand? Yeah, I think it feels pretty solid. I mean, it's not comparing to a G Master solid type of thing, but I mean, solid enough. And if I'm allowed to come back at you here with my right horn here, then the zoom ring, when you zoom it feels pretty nice. It feels sturdy and it feels good. And that is one thing that I never like if I like zooming the ring, whether it's zooming or changing the focal length. If that feels garbage, then the overall feeling of the lens feels garbage. So one thing you might be wondering then is, what is the autofocus like? Is it good enough? In my experience, it's pretty decent. It's at least fire. It's quite fire. But what I wanted to say is that it is at least pretty fast and quiet, and I myself haven't found any bigger issues with it. Now, another important question to ask then is, does it have OSS, like optical steady shot? Is it stabilized? And to answer your question there, then no. this lens is not stabilized at all, so it relies on the stabilization of, for instance, the camera that I have it on right here, which is the Sony a7 IV. Now, overall, I would say that the build quality is pretty decent, especially for like a non-professional lens. You saw that these here, non-professional lens. But I'm thinking if you compare it to like Sony G Master lenses, which are pretty damn expensive, then maybe it's not in that ballpark. But for the price and the size and the compactness and the money and everything, I would say that it's pretty good. All right, so you might be sitting there now wondering to yourself, all right, that's fair and all, but what does the image quality look like? What is this lens capable of producing? Well, as I've said now, I've been shooting with it a lot and it sits on my camera so much because it's like a 28 to 200 millimeter. I don't really have to switch. I have this one and then I pair it with a Sigma 16 to 28 millimeter and I'm covered from 16 to 200 in one, like two lenses. Now we'll share with you a little bit later on in the video the real reason why I bought it, and that will hopefully help you understand my thinking why I'm using this instead of like my much more expensive and even lenses that are producing better quality photos like the Sony G Master and my Sigma lenses. Still using this, but overall the image quality, I'm just surprised by like how good it is. I mean, what do you think? I've been throwing them up now as I've been talking here, showing you the results that I've been capturing with this lens. And by the way, I'm not paid to say anything of this lens. Like Tamron is not, I don't even know Tamron know who I am, you know. I couldn't care less if you buy this lens or not. I don't really care. But I am just a bit amazed and also like floored at the same time, but what this little lens can achieve, because it is really affordable in the like realm of photography. Now, with that being said, then this lens is far from perfect and there are some flaws to it. And don't you worry, my friend, I will tell you all of the bad things about this lens as well. But first, a quick shout out to today's sponsors, Artlist. So I've been using Artlist for years to get all of my royalty-free music, sound effects, templates, plugins, and some next level stock footage for both my YouTube videos and client work. Look, I've been at this for over a decade. I've tried every single one of their competitors, and in my opinion, Artlist is simply just best. Else I wouldn't be taking them on as a sponsor, you know. You see, one thing that I love is that they're always improving and they're constantly innovating to be a true one-stop shop for all of us creators. I mean, they just keep rolling out all of these cool features that just make life for us creators and freelancers so much easier. For example, lately they've been rolling out a bunch of these AI features. I'm talking things like AI voiceover, text-to-image generation, and now you can even turn your own photos into moving videos. I know, it's just absolutely wild. I mean, the creative possibilities now are just endless, and you can even combine 3 of your photos to make one complete scene, which, my friend, opens up a whole new door for storytelling, and Artlist is in the forefront of all of this. Now, if you want to try it out, there's a link in the description which will give you 2 months extra of your yearly subscription, plus it helps support the channel. Big thanks for you, my friend, for clicking the link, and massive thanks for Artlist for helping me keeping these videos coming. Alright, so before I tell you guys what I don't like about this lens, then let me first tell you why I bought it and like why the hell am I using it, this one, much more than my expensive lenses that I have up on the shelf right there. Well, for starters, of course, it's because of the size and compactness of this lens. The fact that this is a 28 to 200 millimeter in such a small body is a game changer for me as a landscape photographer. Now, this is a little bit embarrassing what I'm about to share with you, but I used to always carry with me like the best of the glass. I had the like Sony 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 Mark II, fantastic lens, is so good. And then the Sony 70 to 200 millimeter 2.8 Mark II, also a glorious lens. It's also white. And posting up with a white lens, I'm telling you, ladies will look at you and be like, okay, nice. So what's your number? No, it's just like other camera geeks that come to you, but that's cool too, you know? But anyway, one day I just realized that there's really no point for me to be carrying with me all of this big glass that has such a low aperture because I'm mainly focusing on landscape photography. Almost all of the photos that I do are landscape and then a little bit of street. And I'm almost never going down to below f4. So why the hell am I carrying with me lenses that are like 2.8 or 2.0 or whatnot when I'm not using it? You see, when the aperture is lower, the lenses become bigger because the glass in them will have to be much bigger. So you get much bigger and much bulkier lenses the lower aperture it gets, all right? especially when they are zoom lenses. And I really much like zoom lenses because that means that I don't have to be swapping lenses all the time. And I rely so much on my style of photography is running guns. I'm constantly on the move, constantly out running, constantly taking photos like some sort of a ninja, you know? And that means that I can't be switching lenses all the time. And the embarrassing part is that I somehow just associate, and I think a lot of people do this too, associate like lower aperture with more quality. At least I've seen when I'm making videos about lenses that are like f4 or some higher aperture lenses. I remember a few comments specifically were like, you can't have a beast and f4 in the same title. What? It makes no sense. Because in the end of the day, you have to think about what type of photography are you shooting, and then you have to think what gear will suit your needs the best. As a landscape photographer and a travel photographer, I'm on the go all the time. I'm constantly on the move. And being able to pack lightly is essential for me. It's absolutely essential. And being able to carry just this lens and then pair it with, as I told you before, a 16 to 28 millimeter or 16 to 33 millimeter, 33, 16 to 35 millimeter, it's just so goated. I don't have to carry with me big ass camera gear. I'm hiking a lot. I'm hiking all the time. I know that it becomes pretty strong when you carry all the lenses, and that is pretty cool. But it's also nice to have smaller packs. So that is like the main reason why I bought it. However, don't just take my words for it. The person that put me onto this lens is my friend Mats Peter Iversen. And let's call him and see what he thinks about this lens. I think he's been using it for years and like he's constantly yapping about this lens. Hey, my friend, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how about you?
I'm not bad. So I'm chatting about, this lens right here. I think you're really familiar with it, right?
Oh, I have it right here. Never leaves my side.
So, like, how much do you like it? 10 out of a scale of 10?
I would say it's a 10 of 10 lens, for sure. It's not a perfect lens in the sense that it's the sharpest lens in the world and all that stuff, but it is the perfect combination of everything that we generally need as landscape photographers and photographers who walk around, even traveling photographers.
Yeah, because you put me onto this lens. And even when I've been speaking about it on my channel here, I've gotten at least 2 or 3 comments that was like, Mads told me to buy this lens as well. So one thing, you're not secretly sponsored or anything by Tamron.
I'm truly not, and I've never said anybody should buy that lens. I'm just saying that I'm very happy about it.
I'm happy about it too. This is the first time I've ever bought a Tamron, but it isn't perfect. What are the things that you consider aren't the best about it?
Well, you can always be nitpicky. The out of focus areas aren't particularly aesthetic.
All right.
That's generally not a problem for us if we want to have everything in focus, and if we have anything in the foreground that is very close up, then it will be completely blurred as per always. But it's just like if you use too open of an aperture, where you maybe use f8 instead of a f11, and you're photographing down along a road, and the very first part of the road, even though you're not very close, that will be out of focus. That kind of bokeh isn't particularly aesthetic. Or if you're in the forest, some foreground leaves or branches, again, not perfectly fine. It's not smooth, And when you compare to what is known to be a very sharp lens, you can definitely see that it's not as sharp, but nobody in the entire world can see that kind of like micro sharpness anyway, unless they blow a photo up in 4 meters, printed at the highest quality in the world. Just put a high pass filter on top in Photoshop and you're fine.
I couldn't agree with you more. Anyways, last question before I say bye to you. How long have you been using this lens? Because I've only been with it now for a few months. How long have you been using it?
I think it was spring 21 I bought it.
That is like 4 years?
Well, yeah, according to my calculations.
Wow, and you're still happy?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know what Tamron has done. It's some kind of like magical lens. There's not a single company yet that has made a full frame lens for Sony cameras with a super zoom that's as sharp and as good as this one.
Also, Sigma and Sony should release something similar in the ballpark.
It's such a low-hanging fruit for Sony because their original 24 to 240 for full frame, I don't know if it's like, I don't know, 10 years old or something like that. It feels like that. It's not very good at all, at all. It's such a low-hanging fruit for them to just make an update to it.
Now, what is it then that I do not like about this lens? I mean, where does it fall short? And by the way, if you're not following Mats Petter Iversen yet, then you're totally missing out. I really think that you should. He is not only a fantastic landscape photographer, he's also a really good teacher. And if you want to level up your landscape photography game, of course, you should watch my channel first, but his channel is, I mean, that's the channel that I watch. Anyway, you can find it in the link in the description down below. So, where does this lens fall short? Now, in my opinion, as we talked about with Mats, then from 28mm to 35, the corners are like not the sharpest and not the most pleasing. However, I can also say that the counter argument there is just kind of like characteristics, you know? Now, another minor thing to keep in mind is that, of course, the overall like handling and feeling of this lens is quite plastically. If you compare it to a G Master, it's more quality there. And even the overall image quality of a more expensive lens like the Sony G Master or the other like more expensive lenses is overall going to be a little bit better. But you will start to pixel peep at that point because I've been using this lens pretty much daily for a long time and nobody has said like, bruh, your photos are like much worse right now. Where's the image quality gone, you know? None of you have said that. I think what I'm trying to say is that it's just so easy to get caught up in always wanting to have the best of the best of the best when you don't really need it. Sure, if you need it, go for it, my friend. But 99% of you guys watching, and me included, we don't need the best of the best of the best of the best. We just need something that is good enough. All right, so who is this lens then for, and do I recommend it? Well, as you probably realized after watching this video until this point, which is like absolutely fantastic. But as you come to realize, this lens is for anybody who's looking for a compact super zoom, and maybe you don't want to change lenses all the fucking time, you know, and you're also okay with showing up to your photo buddies with a cheaper lens that is a little bit plasticky, although they are all sporting them big, sexy white lenses that make women like notice you and love you for. But if you're looking for that, then this is definitely something to consider, and I do recommend it. However, the truth is that there's an absolute jungle out there, my friend. I mean, the options are just endless. But fear not, my friend, in this video right here, I show you all the gear that you actually need as a beginner landscape and a travel photographer, plus all the secret sauce.